up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? I want to start off this video with giving my condolences to the family of Ethan, the Ethenissupreme. You know, the YouTuber who's 17 years old and was a hairstylist. His father said that his death could have been caused by a drug overdose. If that is the case, then my heart is saddened. Even if that case, even if that is not the case, we know that he was a user. And I wanted to tell people out there, those who are using and those who are about to start using, and those who, people who have family members, a family member who has another member that is using, addiction. Any addiction is hard to break, and you need to seek help. I keep telling people, there is no shame in going into a program. There's no shame in saying to yourself, I am an addict, I'm an alcoholic. There's no shame in seeking help. In fact, it's courage. It takes courage to admit that you have a problem. It takes courage to seek help. It takes courage to walk in to a detox, to rehab, and say, I want to change. And we have to. I'm going to tell you this because I was an alcoholic for 25 years. And I can tell you that addiction is hard. I can tell you that it's not something easy. You know, I've always admitted that I had an alcohol problem. Yes, I did. But my alcoholism started when I was 17 years old, ended when I was 7 years ago. So you do the math, 25 years actually. And I started as a thing of, I had a girl at the time. I was 17. She was drinking, and she was 14, right? I was 16. She was 14. She was drinking. I mean, she didn't drink every day, but whenever we got a chance. And then my alcoholism grew from there once we broke up. At first, it was just a thing to take my mind away from things. And then alcohol became part of my life. I'm not going to go into great details onto how I became an alcoholic. That will be for another video, which I will do soon. But it takes courage to admit to oneself that we have a problem. Most family members will tell you to a degree he's not going to do anything. He's always going to be an addict, or she's going to be an addict. There's no helping him or her, and it's not true. When you hear those words, take those words and turn them around. Take those words into positivity and say, you know what? I am going to do something for myself. I am somebody. I'm just stuck in a rut, and you have to learn to get out of that rut. You know, you have to do what it takes. You know, I know how it is to wake up in the morning having that urge. Waking up in the morning and saying, you know what, I need that hit, or I need that drink. I know what that means. I know how that feels. You know, but you have to like I said, you're powerless to your own addiction, and you have to accept what you have and seek that help. You know, I don't know how this young man became an addict at such a young age. But hey, I was an addict. I was an alcoholic at 17, right? But when you're that young, and he was getting money from here and there, and just didn't realize, how deep he was in his own addiction. It's sad to lose a life at 17 years old over an addiction. It really is. Drugs have taken the lives of many people. and it's not the right thing, man. I mean, I have a brother, and he's actually he is 40, and he's an addict of heroin, and it saddens me because I try to teach him how to get off of it. You know, he goes from heroin to methadone and then back to heroin, and it's just a game. It's just a game. He knows what he needs to do because I've given him the tools. Which the tools is this. This is the tools, and he doesn't listen. He goes into a rehab stunt. He stays there for 7 days, and then he comes out. And he thinks everything is clean. He thinks everything's copacetic, and it's not. I'm not a big fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of a person who was on heroin, staying on methadone. I'm not a big fan of that. Doctors will tell you, okay, you'll go on methadone, but what happens when you go on methadone? You stay on methadone. And people, when they stay on methadone, that's for them. Is okay. In their minds, they're like, I cannot do heroin, but I'll do methadone because methadone will take me away from heroin. But it's still the same thing. You don't get that high, but you still have the drug inside your system, and that's what you don't do. That's what you don't want. Methadone messes with your teeth, your bones. So, in my experience, when I did my detox and I went to rehab, I was taking lorazepam for my anxiety, for not getting that urge to drink. That's what lorazepam does. To this day, I take lorazepam, but I take lorazepam to this day for my anxiety attacks. I have panic attacks. It's another video that I'll be doing, and it just. I went into detox. I went to rehab, and I did the 12 steps, and I did all that. But I went into it, guys, with the mentality of it. I was taking the streets. I didn't have nowhere to go, so I did that rehab. I was forced to do rehab, and when you're forced to do something, that's no good because you're not going to accomplish anything. Had I gone in with the mindset that I have now, it would have been a whole different story. I would have been sober a long time ago. But I never would have met my current wife had I been sober, for certain things. So in my mindset, I see my brother and I say, when is he going to stop? What is it going to take for this young man who's 40 years old is going to stop? And he knows that he's doing wrong because he tells you to your face, I know I'm doing wrong. But you have to know that you're wrong and to do something about it are two different things. I left when I stopped drinking. I went in 2012. I stopped in 2013. In 2012, I had stopped for 10 months, and I have now. She's 26, but at that time, she had turned. Let me see. She had turned 18 years old. My daughter, and I haven't seen my daughter since she was 2 years old. She was getting up for adoption, and I was 16 years without seeing my daughter. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 18. So she's 26 now. So that was 8 years ago. And when I went to see her for the first time in 16 years, I was sober for 10 months. That day that I went to see her, I broke sobriety. For what reason, I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I know what happened that day. A friend of mine I went out to Florida. A friend of mine, we went to a pizzeria. And it's not his fault, it's mine. He bought beers, and he was like, "Oh man, I forgot my bad, Jill. You're not drinking." I'm like, "Man, don't worry about it, man. It doesn't bother me." And then I said, and then in my mind, I said, "You know what? Let me take one. The more is not going to hurt me. I've been 10 months. I can control this, and that was a bad thing to do." I took one, and I just kept on going from there. I saw my daughter. I remember what we talked about, what we didn't talk about, because I wanted to talk. There's certain things that I wanted to talk to my daughter about. Questions that she probably had, meaning that she didn't see me, she hasn't seen me for such a long time. She doesn't know who I am. And I just wanted to do all that, but it didn't happen. So And then my addiction, the times that I did stop drinking, the 4 or 5 times before I stopped drinking, I did stop drinking before. It always led up to the 10th month, and in the 10th month, I broke. I relapsed. I don't like using that word, relapse. And I don't know why. So this time when I stopped drinking, that was the following year, 2013. I told my wife, I stopped in June 2013, and I told my wife, babe, if I pass the 10th month, it's always with something with the 10th month. If I can pass, once I'm done with that hurdle of the 10th month, then I will stop drinking forever. Alcohol, not drinking water or anything like that. So that's what I did. And when the 10th month came, I was like literally so scared, because I was like, what is it about this month? What is it about the 10th month that I can't stop? And mind you guys, I got in seizures before. My first seizure that I got from alcohol, because I stopped cold turkey, was September 11th, 2001, when the towers went down. I remember that day. I woke up, I ate breakfast, and the next thing I know, I have a nurse in front of me. I don't remember anything. You mostly don't remember anything when you have a seizure. And then I got in another seizure on August the 4th, 2002, my daughter's birthday. And that day I drank, that day I drank only one beer, and I got a seizure. And my doctor said, Gio, next time you might not make it out. And that still didn't scare me. And I even got worse news than that after that, but that's for another video. Those who know me knows what it is. And I was like, wow. So I didn't stop. But so I told my wife, on the 10th month, if I stop doing that on the 10th month and I reach the 11th month, then I'll definitely good forever. And I did. And I reached the 10th month, and on the 10th month came the 11th month. And once the 11th month came, I said, that is it. I am done with alcohol. And people, let me tell you something. It's been a ride, because I feel great sober. All those naysayers that were like, Gio's not going to do it, he's an alcoholic, I shut their mouth. Even my own parent, my own mom was like to my wife, oh, he's not going to make it. Gio's always going to drink. That's who he is. And that motivated me, to be honest with you. That motivated me somewhat to shut her mouth. Like a few months ago, I said, Mom, do you remember those words that you said that I was never going to make it, that I was going to be an alcoholic? Those were the words that turned my life around somewhat. She goes, well, that's good. That's good. At least something I said positive came out of it. So I took that negativity that at that time she didn't think that I heard, and I turned it into a positive. But it was a struggle. The only one that was there with me besides my kids, it was my wife. My wife was the one that was there with me, and she was there with me for every step of the way. And she was like, "Babe, I got you. We got this together. You can do this." Said, "You can do this," and that meant a lot to me. And I didn't stop, and I didn't stop because my wife encouraged me. I stopped because I came one day in June 1st, and I said, I'm tired. I'm tired of waking up every morning drinking. I'm tired of going to sleep drinking. I'm tired of going to bed drinking. I'm tired of I'm tired of the vomits. I'm tired of these panic attacks that if I stop drinking, cold turkey, I'm going to get a seizure. And I just got tired of being tired. And that was my decision. And then when I stopped, I didn't go to no rehab. I didn't do none of that. I stopped on my own. And the first 10 months was really hard. And now I'm 7 years sober, and I can tell you I've hung out with my family, and they drink on occasions. I've done bartending. I've done waiter. I'm a food and beverage manager, and my last job in Puerto Rico, I did bartending and waitering at a restaurant in Old San Juan, And you get people that drinks, and people order drinks, and we didn't have a bartender. In the beginning, when we started doing, our day shift, at nighttime, sometimes we had a bartender, sometimes we didn't. We had to make our own drinks. And when I used to pour the alcohol, when I used to do a martini, or when I used to do any drink that involved alcohol, it was kind of a reminder. When I smelled that alcohol, a Cuba Libre, that has a strong content of Bacardi. I smelled that Bacardi because that's what I drank in Puerto Rico. In New York, I drank beer. I was strictly beer in New York. But when I went to Puerto Rico, I had this habit of drinking Bacardi. And anyone that knows, I drank a Bacardi like maybe this size up to here every single day. And if I didn't have the money, you got to do what you got to do. But I used to drink maybe the big pint once a day. And if I had two, I would end up drinking two. And it was tedious, to say the least. And when I smelled the alcohol, I was like, wow, this is what I used to drink. And when I see people in the streets acting belligerent and acting incoherent and acting all that, I was like, wow, that's the way I never was belligerent, and I never was incoherent. I was a controllable alcoholic. I never staggered. I never slurred. I thought I was in control. I never smelled the alcohol in me, because to be honest with you, but I knew that I was drinking. My family always, Gio, you smell like you reek. And I can imagine how my coworkers felt. But I never went drunk like, oh, you what's up, guy? No, that never happened. But because I controlled my metabolism, I guess. I don't know, something. And I didn't slur side to side. I didn't go to side to side. But I worked it. I was like, wow, that's the way I was. And I was like, never again. So we have to come in communion with ourselves and say we are powerless with our addiction. We are powerless to ourselves. And you're gonna have to want to drink. You have to want to stop. And family support is very important too. So even if Ethan then died of an overdose, well, at least we know that he was using. And that's the whole point of this, is that if you are using, to realize that you need to stop. If you are using, to realize that there is much more to you than drugs. There's much more to you than alcohol. A friend of mine 3 years ago died of alcohol. And he was maybe 5 years older than me. And when I saw him in the hospital bed in the Bronx, how he went from being a puffy guy like me to his cheekbones showing. He wanted to stop. He really did want to stop at the end. He really wanted to, and he was making an effort to stop. But it was too little, too late. And I saw him in bed, and I saw him die. I mean, I didn't see him. He didn't die in front of my face, but he died a few days after that. And it saddened me, and I was like, wow, that could have been me. That could have been me. And I cried. In the inside, I cried. And I said, you know what? Then God has a purpose for me, because I've gone through so much in life. And most people would cave when they find out that, they're HIV positive, on top of being an alcoholic. And the way I contracted it, it was even more sad. I should have been pissed off. Most people would, but I wasn't. I let it all in the God of hands. So I said, so here I am. I have HIV. I am an alcoholic, or I was an alcoholic. So what's my purpose? God must have a purpose for me. God has a purpose for each and every one of us, believe it or not. But you just gotta find out what it is. I mean, God. We all know that God wants us to be good. God wants us to love one another, to help one another. We know because we've heard the gospel of Jesus. By the time we get caught up in so many things that we take to ourselves, oh, I don't have time, or I want to do this, I want to do that. So I said, God has a purpose for me. That easily could have been me. But God has given me, God has granted me life. God has given me a life. There is something to this, and I have to find out what it is. Maybe it is to help other people from addiction. Maybe it's helping people with HIV. Maybe it's to bring people closer to God. I like preaching the Word of God. There's something. I just gotta find it. But like I said, God has a purpose for each and every one of us, even you. God loves you, and I cannot reiterate that much, because I cannot emphasize, I should say, that a lot, because God does love you. So we just gotta put our differences aside within yourself, and take that first step. And that first step of addiction is to admit that in that blank paper, say I, whatever your name is, I'm an addict. I am an alcoholic. And that's the first step to recovery, is to admit that you have a problem. And you move forward. There's no shame in going to rehab. There's no shame in going to detox. There's no shame. You just take pride when you say that. When you say, I am an alcoholic, I am an addict, I come to the conclusion that's who I am. You accept that. That's called the first step. It's the admission that you are powerless over your own addiction. And you're taking the first step into freedom. Actually, into freedom. And then you seek help. You go to Alcoholics Anonymous. You go to any Anonymous. Let the people who have the experience help you. Let the people who have the experience teach you, because these are with addiction. We're taking baby steps because we were infantiles in our addiction, and so we gotta take baby steps until we have become adults, so to speak, right? And it's not easy. It's something that I don't struggle with my addiction. I don't struggle with my alcoholism now, because that's in the back of my mind. And like I said, I worked with alcohol before. So I know for a fact that I'm never going to drink again alcohol. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have it. I would love to have a beer. I really would, because I love alcohol. I love beer. And I like to sit down and watch a football game, watch a baseball game, or go to my backyard. Now that I have a house, go to my backyard and have myself a beer too. But I know that if I have that one drink, it's over for me. And I'm to the point that I don't want to lose 7 years of sobriety just so I can give myself the indulge of drinking that one beer. Because I know that one beer is going to take me to 2, 3, and it's going to be hard for me to come back. It's going to be hard. So I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to lose 7 years sobriety. I don't want to go through the throwing up. I don't want to go through all that. I don't want to throw away 7 years that I've had of sobriety. 7 years of my wife telling me, baby, you look beautiful, baby, you are beautiful, baby, great, your baby this. I don't want to lose that. So I say, I'm not going to drink. And today, sometimes I wake up like, beer, right? But nah. But I don't have the desire. It's just a thought. And that's it, which is a good thing to have, because, when you don't have that thought, maybe you may go to the store, because, you go to the store, you got alcohol right there, so you're like, oh yeah, you take one. You don't even think, oh crap, I'm not supposed to be drinking. But to me, when I have these minimal thoughts of drinking, I'm like, it's a little reminder of, no, Gio, you can't do it, buddy. I wish you could, but you can't. From the last time. So it's a reminder for me, which is a great reminder. But I want you people to know that there is no shame in admitting that you have an addiction. There is no shame in that. There is no shame in saying, I am an addict, I am an alcoholic. There's no shame in that. And that is the first step. And then you seek help. And you're going to see the beauty of sobriety. You're going to see the beauty you're going to see the beauty of living a sober, a clean life. Clean life is to those who are addicts to drugs, and sober is to those who are alcoholics. A clean life, and that is awesome. That is great to have, and I cannot emphasize enough. Take those words Relapse, take those words out of your mind. Don't let doctors tell you any different, people, please. If you get anything from me, don't use the word relapse, because when you use the word relapse, that gives the person a pillow to say, you know what, relapse is okay because my doctor said it's okay because it's for me to relapse. I just get back up and get back up fine, but don't use relapse, because when you use relapse, you're using an excuse. Oh, my wife left me, so I want to drink. Oh, my job sucks. Oh, I want to drink. All this. We always find an excuse for everything. And when you do that, it really means that you don't want to stop. Don't stop. Yeah, don't stop your addiction. Don't stop your alcoholism. Don't stop your drug addiction because you want to please somebody else. Don't do that. That is bad. Stop because you want to stop. Because when you do that, I believe that if you say, I'm going to stop because of my kids, I'm going to stop because of my wife, I'm going to stop because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. And if you fail, most people do, and if you fail, you can say to yourself, you know what? I let my kids down. I let my wife down. No. You don't need that burden. You don't need that carry, the extra luggage. You say, I want to stop because of me. I'm tired. Maybe I'm tired of my kids seeing me this way. I'm tired of my wife seeing me this way. I'm tired of my job seeing me this way. I'm tired. Then you go to rehab. Then you do what you got to do. Then you can see that. You say, I want to stop because I want to see my kids. I want to be able to see my kids. I don't want to die. I don't want to get an overdose. I don't want to die of cirrhosis of the liver. I don't want to die of this. I don't want to die of that. You can say that, but never say, I'm going to stop because my kid says so, or my wife said I should stop. No, stop because you want to stop. And then once you stop because you want to stop, then you can put down, okay, I'm stopping because I want my kids to be proud of me. I want my wife to be proud of me. I want because we tend to be blind, that we have people around us that care for us, and we don't think about those who are we hurting, because we are hurting people besides ourselves, who loves us and sees us as, when is he going to stop? Going back to my brother, when is he going to stop? When is he going to come to his senses and say, you know what, this is it? When he's dead, God forbid, dies of an overdose, and that's just it. And I'm not going to go into the people, places, and things. I'm not going to go into every detail. But what I'm going to do is that I want those people who have followed Ethan, I want you to remember him as a good young man who tried to give his best to his YouTubers, and he tried to make you laugh and try to do all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, he had a problem. And it's sad that it came to the point that he didn't know that he had a problem. If he did, I don't know. But always know your worth, man. And always know that there are people who care about you. And if you are in that situation like Ethan, and millions of Ethans out there, and millions of Geos out there also, who have a problem or had a problem, encourage them. Don't belittle them. There are some people that you tell them, go to rehab, get do this, and they're not going to listen to you, but still insist. And hopefully that persistence pays off. So like I said, my heart goes out to his family. My condolences goes out to him. I wish that things were different, that he could have seeked help. And if he did, I don't know, but I wish he did. But guys and girls, there's help. There's help out there. Just seek it. Your local hospital. Call 311. Find out if where's the nearest rehab, where's the nearest detox. Most detox are paid by Medicaid. Medicaid pay, state Medicaid pays for it. So it's nothing out of it's not out of pocket money. You could do 30 days, which is nothing. And if you need extensive help, they will help you. Go to another place, another facility where they can keep you more of an extensive time. So it's not. Your life is not. I want you to know that your life is not determined by what you do. Your life is determined by the things that you are going to do. And don't let alcoholism rule you. Don't let drug addiction rule you. Don't let any addiction rule you. But in this case, we're talking about alcohol and drugs. Don't let that rule you. Don't let that be what people know you by. Don't let that people remember you by. Um, so it's important that you seek help. I don't recommend doing it by yourself like I did, but if you can, amen to you. But seek help. There are people out there who really care about you. Your family care about you. I don't know, you're not care about you, and I want you to succeed. And if in any way I can help, taking those first steps, just leave a comment below, and I'll get in contact with you. Like I said, there's no shame in admitting that you have an addiction. There's no shame in admitting that you're powerless. That's what we are. We are powerless to our addiction once we start. And to the Ethan family, to those fans, to those subscribers and fans that went that were with him, my condolences to you guys, and I hope that this can benefit somebody, even if it's one person. Even if my message reaches one person, I'm satisfied. So I want to thank you guys. Like I said, my condolences to the family. And if you need to reach me, just leave a message below. Subscribe to my channel.